Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Friday, March 13, 2026, the last Friday of Ramadan as it nearly is ending. I am Abdul Majid Awan and today we have some very interesting headlines. UAE economic momentum challenges, Goldman Sachs 5% contraction warning, DHL pushes $577 million Middle East investment despite Iran attacks. Jordanian-American Amjad Masad's Replit raises $400 million at a $9 billion valuation. And UAE hiring slows slightly, but job market remains resilient. That's what a recruitment startup founder, co-hires founder, Peter White has said. Very interesting discussion points that he has. So we'll discuss all of that. Before we dive into the stories, short market watch, what's happening in the world. Right now, S&P futures, Dow futures, Nasdaq futures, they're all open in the green. So today coming when the market actually opens around 5:30 UAE time, it's going to be, it's expected to be in the green. That's what the US market is doing. Asian markets right now, right in front of me, are in the red zone. Usually they are the markets that tell you what will happen throughout the day. But Asian markets in the red, Hang Seng is in the red. It's fallen nearly half a point. SSE Composite, half a point, Nikkei 225, 1.13% fallen. It's a very contrasting picture. Futures in the US are opening in green, Asian markets in red. So makes it quite difficult to decide what will happen when the US markets open. But coming back to our own home markets, DFM is open. It's down 1.3% right now at the open. It was down more than 3% yesterday. Not a good time for DFM right now, to be honest. ADX right now has opened. It's also down 0.849%. Obviously, the Iran attacks are affecting the markets. Right now, Saudi Arabia is closed today. It's Friday, but yesterday they closed around 0.5% down in the red. EGX also closed today, but they closed minus 0.86 yesterday. So everything is in the red. Qatar also closed at nearly 0.86% in the negative, in the red. All the markets are in the red. Right now, oil price is stabilizing somehow. It's not that much. It's nearly 100. It's sometimes 90. It's fluctuating a lot because as updates come from these Iranian attacks on their Gulf neighbors, as news comes from the US-Israeli joint forces that are attacking Iran, it keeps fluctuating. There's a lot of force majeures that have been in place. We've talked about all of them on Smashi Business, on our socials, in the show. If you haven't followed, I'll give you a simple solution to understand what a force majeure is. It's a contractual obligation which is put into contracts a lot, that if something happens, if something goes wrong, anyway, you always put it in the contract that we can always devoid the contract, we can always move away from the contract. Right now, Qatar Energy, Qatar's state-backed petroleum and LNG company, that has gone into a force majeure. Oman has gone, Bahrain has gone, Kuwait has gone into a force majeure. ADNOC, which is the state-backed UAE oil and gas company, they haven't announced a force majeure, but they may. That's what's been is being talked about. They have shut down the Ruwais refinery in Abu Dhabi temporarily for precautionary measures after drone debris or a drone fell in the vicinity. There's a lot happening. We'll keep you updated, but the first story of the day is very interesting because we have now entered the 14th day of Iran's attacks on the Gulf neighboring countries after the US-Israeli joint strike killed their supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Now his son Mujtaba Khamenei is the de facto leader, and he has said yesterday, as reported by everyone, a lot of publications, that they are not going to open the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil and gas through the shipping routes goes through Strait of Hormuz. They still closed it. They're not allowing ships to go through. There's a lot of fight happening there, sea route fight. We don't know what will happen next. Obviously, no one knows right now. I think even Mr. Trump doesn't know what's going to happen. But obviously, we'll keep an eye out for you and let you know as soon as it's open or if the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz continues. The very first story is about all the attacks, all the uncertainty that has been created by the Iranian attacks on their Gulf neighbors. UAE has been has bore the brunt most out of all the countries. The most number of attacks have been in the UAE. But recent economic data suggests that UAE may be more resilient than some forecasts imply. If you look at all the 2025 numbers, which I will tell you, even as regional tensions continue, there is a very good chance that UAE will come out of it very nicely, very comfortably. Analysts at Goldman Sachs, yesterday they put out a whole report, and they warned that UAE economy could contract by around 5%. The 5% number may look small, but when you're talking about billions of dollars, 5% is a big number. If the conflict in the region continues for another month till the end of April, that's what Goldman Sachs says. However, we go back, we look at 2025, the performance of UAE, and the recent growth figures show the country entered the crisis with strong economic momentum, and official data from the ministries shows that UAE economy expanded 5.1% year on year in the first 9 months of 2025, reaching roughly AED 1.4 trillion. The growth was driven largely by the non-oil sector, which expanded 6.1% and now contributes more than 1 trillion dirhams to the economy. You just have to understand that UAE's diversification plans have worked. They have moved away from oil. So all the disruption regarding the oil and gas industry, they are very less affected as opposed to if this happened like 10, 15 years ago, they would have been affected more. But diversification has reduced the country's reliance on hydrocarbons. Non-oil activities now account for more than 77% of their total GDP, again, according to ministries, and this reflects strong performance in sectors such as finance, construction, manufacturing, and real estate. This shift towards a broader service-driven economy provides a buffer against what the oil markets are right now facing, the shocks and the regional logistical route problems. So with a prolonged conflict, obviously, it will impact tourism, trade, and aviation, as we've seen. Tourism, $600 million a day. Yesterday, I was talking about it on the Smashi Business Show. The WTTC report says $600 million lost across the Gulf countries, across the Middle East per day. And UAE is obviously suffering from it. Trade it hasn't stopped. It has to take new routes. And because of the new routes, obviously, operational expenses, they increase. And aviation, we've seen that Etihad, Fly Dubai, be it Emirates, all the aviation, Qatar Airways, Saudia, from Saudi, the national flag carrier, and Fly Nas, all the big names in aviation in the Middle East, they have to cancel flights. They have been rerouting flights. So obviously that costs them a lot. They are the biggest hub in the world right now. Qatar Airways, I think 3 consecutive years, best airline in the world. UAE's Dubai airport, the most busiest airport in the world. All of this obviously will give some push to stopping UAE from reaching the targets that they had for 2026. But their diversified economic base, their financial reserves, and the infrastructure capacity will obviously help them cushion against the worst case scenarios outlined in the report by Morgan Stanley. Very interesting. It's very difficult to understand for normal people who haven't lived in the UAE, who haven't spent time in the UAE, who haven't read the history of UAE over the last 2 decades. They don't know the resilience of this economy, and not only the economy, the resilience of the leadership and their ability to always bounce back from problems. The 2008 financial crisis, everybody wrote the way out, Dubai came back stronger. COVID-19, one of the first countries to open their borders, allow people to come back as tourists, as residents, as anyone. So they have shown us in the past that the systems that have been in place in the UAE, and to be honest, a lot of countries in our neighborhood as well, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, they all work. And because of good systems, proactive leadership, and proactive systems also, which have always planned for whatever is going to happen next. Expo 2020, everyone was saying that it's going to flop because COVID-19 was there. It happened in 2021, still called Expo 2020, still makes me smile. But again, the thing was that Expo 2020 was a success. We saw so many people. I went there thrice. It was such a nice, obviously they had to tone it down a little bit. Some of the, I think if it was supposed to happen at 100 rate, it happened at a 95. And I think that's good success for anyone. But all this said, UAE has been resilient. The final say, if I have to say, is they are going to bounce back. They have always bounced back. History shows us, data shows us. So we should back history and data. The next story is, again, some confidence booster for the region. DHL Express Europe, their CEO, he said that the company overall is moving forward with its Middle East investment plans, despite the ongoing attacks by Iran on the Gulf neighboring countries. Parent company Deutsche Post DHL Group pledged over 500 million euros in investments through 2030. It was announced earlier in the year, and with a strong focus on the UAE and Saudi Arabia. They wanted to make more investments in those two countries specifically. CEO Mike Para of DHL Express Europe, he was talking to reporters in Amsterdam, and he emphasized that the region's long-term strategic importance cannot be denied. Recent airport closures and shipping disruptions through the Strait of Hormuz have forced DHL to adapt, rerouting cargo from Asia through Kazakhstan and trucking it across the Middle East. So they have found a way across this whole tension. Rising insurance and security costs obviously are going to not help, but they are being passed on to the customers. That's what he said. It's a very interesting power move by DHL, while a lot of people are questioning the stability of the countries in the Middle East among these Iranian attacks. They are showing that they still believe in the region. And that follows from the first story where Morgan Stanley says 5% contraction. No, a global giant is saying that they still believe in the long-term prospects. So you should too, I think. Third story for the day is very interesting. It's one of our beloved founders, an Arab founder, a Jordanian founder, a Palestinian Jordanian-American founder, the most, I think, outspoken, the most truthful, the most contrarian, according to his own words, guy in the Silicon Valley, representing the Arab world, Arab founders and Arab entrepreneurs, Jordanian-American Amjad Masad. His US-based artificial intelligence coding platform, Replit, has raised $400 million in a Series D funding round, valuing the company now at $9 billion. The round was led by investment firm Georgian, with participation from Sovereign Wealth Fund, Qatar's Sovereign Wealth Fund, Qatar Investment Authority. It's a very nice move that an Arab founder has now gotten backing from an Arab Sovereign Wealth Fund. And there were also other global investors. The funding, according to Amjad Masad, will support the expansion of Replit's AI development tools as well as its growth across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Founded in 2016, Replit builds artificial intelligence-powered software development tools that allow users to create applications directly from a browser. And they now also have a phone app, so you can use it on the phone. The company says its platform now serves more than 50 million users worldwide, with employees from around 85% of Fortune 500 companies using it for software development, prototypes, and internal tools. Alongside the funding announcement, Replit also introduced Agent 4, its latest AI development agent designed to automate coding tasks and manage workflows. The company obviously expects to reach $1 billion in annual run rate revenue by 2026. There's a whole nearly 2-minute video by Amjad Masad where he's explaining how they want to democratize software making. And to make it simple for you, to make it more interesting, it's very simple, Replit. You go there, for example, you want a calendar app, not the normal calendar app that you have in your phone. You want something new in it. You want your calendar, your wife's calendar, or your parents' calendar, your family's calendar to be combined together You can build an app there. It takes hardly 5 to 10 minutes. Obviously, if you want to include more and more features, and if you want to publish it on the web, and if you want to host it, you may pay very small amounts. The recent examples, I know a few people who've actually used it. We follow them a lot. There's a very famous podcast host, Lulu Khazinbaz. She made her own website using Replit. She was given a quote of, I think, $3,000 to make a website for her. She spent $50 on Replit and made it herself. So these are the stories. There's another Saudi founder, I remember. We did a story back in 2025. He said that his kid built a software using Replit. It was, I think, he was a 12-year-old who built an app to identify all the Transformer characters or some animated series characters. So these are the things that are happening in the world of AI. A lot of people just talk about that kids will make thesis using ChatGPT. They always point out the problems with LLMs and AI, basically. But if you go deep now, AI is changing the world, is changing how you think. It literally can translate. I know 4 or 5 years ago, the very first text to image software came out and everyone went, whoa, how can you do this? And then ChatGPT came out and everyone was like, oh, just one prompt and you get hundreds of thousands of words written about it. But then now is the time where literally a prompt can build a software for you. A prompt can build an application for you, personalized for your use with all the things that you want. So this is what Amjad Masad means from democratization of software making and app making. Beforehand, you had to go to your friend or a company to make even a website. Now everything is possible just through one single prompt. And even some people, it's a very good idea. It's not some people, it's actually a very good idea. Even the LLMs that you use, ChatGPT, Anthropics, Claude, if you're using Perplexity, whatever software that you're using, you can use it to write the prompt for you as well. So it's literally zero work from your side, just telling them to write a prompt and then copy the prompt to these Replit, Lovable, all the other things that are out there. And they can build a nice app for you. And all this is happening in the world of AI. It's not just Terminator and Doomsday. There's a lot of optimism towards AI as well. The last story is also about optimism. We try to highlight the good things that are happening. And I would love your comments wherever you're watching. Right now, I have Instagram open in front of me. I would love to hear comments from you on this story. Send your comments, I'll read them live. But hiring in the UAE may be slowing slightly, but the job market remains resilient. That's the comment made by Peter White. He's the founder of Bahrain-based recruitment startup GoHire. And he says some companies have paused hiring processes due to Ramadan and rising regional tensions, obviously Iran's attacks, but though very few have cancelled roles entirely. According to White, he runs a company which knows this data. That is why we picked this story up. The candidate market remains active, with professionals still seeking new opportunities and companies still hiring for new opportunities. He says the broader picture also remains strong. The UAE workforce grew 12.4% in 2025. Just imagine if they have 100 million people, they added 120,400 people in it, while the number of private sector companies also increased nearly 8%, reflecting continued business expansion in the UAE. Long-term hiring in areas such as AI and infrastructure is continuing. That's what Peter says, suggesting the underlying strength of UAE economy and its labor market remains intact. It's a very interesting story because it shows you that people who are actually doing the work are telling you the original story of what's happening on ground. He runs a company called GoHire. It's a software, it's a platform you can use to hire people through their platform. You, as a person, can go and make your profile. It's kind of a LinkedIn. It's born out of Bahrain, Manama, registered in Bahrain, Manama. So it's a very nice startup. We may soon look into it and cover it more. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us on the Smashi Business Show today. Today is Friday. We will be doing our audio podcast only on Saturday and Sunday. So if you're not on following us on Anagami, on Spotify, on Google Music, which is now the podcast version of Google, or Apple Podcasts. Please do so so you can listen to the weekend episodes. That's a wrap for today from my side. Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in our bio on every platform. You just have to be willing to find it. You will find it somewhere. Meanwhile, in the wake of the developments in the region during the Iranian attacks on the Gulf neighboring countries, we hope every one of you stays safe. At this critical moment, it is essential to remain united and follow guidance issued by official authorities only from your country. This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to all the 30,000 people who downloaded our shows. You make this possible. If you're one of them, we appreciate you. Have a great day. I will see you on Monday, but we will keep doing the Smashi Business Show over the weekend, so stay tuned for that. Have a great day. This is Abdul Majid Awan. Take care.